наша вот эта неделя была под знаменем информатики, культуры и техники. Мы начали с техники, но я считаю, что не менее важным составляющим была культурная составляющая, которая была проинициирована профессором Юрхеном Зиком, которого, к сожалению, уже сегодня нет, но есть представители этой школы, и вот сейчас мы передаем им слова.
Здравствуйте, со столетием политеха. Смотрите, какая у нас замечательная генетика у политехников. Человек, который был первым ректором и организатором нашего замечательного вуза, Нилус, был родным братом замечательного одесского художника Нилуса. И сегодня эта генетика по-новому как-то так раскрылась, да, такой филогенез случился. У нас технари вместе с культурологами чего-то там производят.
Das ist fast unmöglich zu übersetzen.
Ну вот, больше 2 лет мы работаем, наш гуманитарный факультет и ИКС, в нескольких проектах, которые создают культурный продукт на основе IT-технологий. Это и гид по музею современного искусства города Одессы. Это и маршрут экскурсионный по немецкой Одессе. Это GameHub.
Что это?
А это мы делаем компьютерные игры на основе культурного продукта.
Aha, das sind auch Computerspiele, die auf der Basis von Kultur gebaut sind.
Ну и впереди у нас только культурный арт-кластер и невероятное богатство.
So you will now hear and see 6 presentations from our AR summer school about IT and culture. And we will begin with a project on an AR augmented reality museum catalog.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to talk to you about our project, our catalog museum. First of all, I should say that nowadays people are less interested in culture and art, and that's why the main target of our project is to make museums more attractive for visitors. And I hope in future visiting a museum will be such a basic thing than visiting cinema or walking into the parks. Okay, second slide, please. Our roles in this project: Max, design and programming; Anastasia, design; Emil, programming; Andrew, programming; and Nazar, presentation and programming. And a big thanks to our culturologist Max, because without him we won't stay here.
Next slide, please. Yeah, so basically our main idea is with the power of augmented reality we want to make a trip into museum more interesting and fun. Because you know nowadays we can find all kinds of information on the internet and people just don't have motivation for going to museum. And we want to attract more people into museum, and for this purpose we add more interactive elements of the game into museum trip. Right now also we have one major problem with the lack of the space in the museum. And thanks to the augmented reality we can add more information about the artists, paintings, or anyone. So we solved 2 main problems: is lack of space and the language barrier. Right now, any kind of tourist can go to the museum and read information in the augmented reality in English. And right now in museums often don't have translation for tourists. So yeah, next slide, and word to Andrei.
Yes, our application basically has two parts. The first part is IR flyer part. We created a flyer for this museum. Here it is. And we also, yes, and we also augmented it. And the other part is the game for the museum. We will show it to you later. The next slide, please. Next. This was our week. On Monday, we created a concept for our application. On Tuesday, we had to choose the museum with which we have had to work. And the only one museum which wanted to work with us was the Western and Oriental Arts Museum here in Odessa. Then we had to gather some information, some content from the museum, for example, the paintings and some videos and stuff like this. And we also talked to the art professor from the Odessa University. Here is she. And yes, and the museum didn't have a flyer for our own flyer, so we had to design it, and we also did some programming on Tuesday. Wednesday we translated the flyer and developed our application, and then the next day we printed our flyers and paintings, and we also developed our application again. And on Friday we did some presentation stuff like compiling the application and designing the presentation itself. Yes, next slide. These are our flyers. On the right side you can see the English version of our flyer. I think you can see it really, but trust me, it's the English version. And on the left side you can see the Russian version. Next, please. And the museum game, it is very simple. You have 6 paintings. First, they're all great. But if you find one painting in the museum, it will become colorful, so it's not gray. You have to find all paintings in the museum, and yes, now we will show you our application. Видео, пожалуйста. Ну, из файла, пожалуйста, там файл в папке. Yes, this is the flyer, which was designed by us, and we also augmented it. Yes. So here you see the probably the most famous street of Kiev, Krishchatik, and also the old pictures of Krishchatik, and it's some modern art. So this was the flyer, and now we will show you some paintings. On the paintings you can see some additional information about the paintings. For example, this painting is related to the painting of Picasso, which was shown right now. And here's some additional stuff, some additional information. And you see, if you find a new picture, you can find it then in the gallery. You will see it now here. So it was found, and now it's there. So you have to find all 6 pictures. And here's some additional stuff again to the pictures. Yes, I think that's it.
Thanks.
Okay, cool. So, how's everyone doing today? How was this week? I want to know if anyone had as much fun as we did. Alright, I'll take that as an answer. So, basically, our project had one singular goal, and that was enhancing the player experience in a notorious and pretty much well-known game for both good and bad reasons, Dungeons and Dragons. Anyone here ever heard of that? Okay, I assume you did. So our team consisted of myself, Edward, I was the one behind the art asset design, Dennis was the one who brought all our ideas and stock footage together using Unity and Vuforia, Sonia was the one responsible for sound effects, music and all that good stuff, Yaroslav and Daniil were 2 probably most valuable members of our group, as they provided us with a surprise project that we didn't intend on making, but that turned out really good. You'll see what I mean later. And Yaroslav was responsible for the environmental design, and Daniil was our lead Unity developer. Next slide, please. The main idea was to enhance the game experience for both the players and the game master of Dungeons & Dragons. No matter how immersive the game might be on its own, adding augmented reality would only make it better, and if we like something, we always want to improve it. So that's what we did. The main goals were to provide the GMs with extra tools for world building and storytelling, increasing player immersion, also automating the game's more complex mechanics, as Dungeons & Dragons includes a lot of math and calculations, and it would be nice to take that responsibility out of the players' heads where it can get really messed up and outsource it to the machines. That's what we do for a living, after all. And the last but not least was lowering the entry threshold for new players through visualization of the game and tooltips, which would help new players to get acquainted with the game. Next slide, please. Alright, so the development progress was pretty rough at first. On Monday, we basically just got the idea conceptualized and done some initial prototyping. The real workflow started on Tuesday and ended on Thursday. The main and most time-consuming thing were the art assets and also the physics engine that Yaroslav and Daniil were working on. And today, on Friday, we just did the final testing and compiled the project. Also put together this gorgeous presentation. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is just a snapshot of our project that was taken on Wednesday. The 4 pictures in the top left are the markers that I used by Vuforia to place digital objects in the real world. Just below it is the main menu of the game, and on the right is a screenshot of how it works through the phone camera. Continue. Next slide, please. And yeah. We have a future vision of our project. There will be some demonstrations, but they will be after the presentation because they are video files and we didn't want to break the flow. But we are actually going to work on this project even further and maybe even make it corporate and make some money with it. So here are some goals that we are setting to ourselves, is to create an original RPG system to accompany our application, because Dungeons & Dragons is really strict with its copyright. Next, we want to implement multi-device multiplayer capabilities, because Dungeons & Dragons is a cooperative game. You have the GM, the players, and it would be, it is necessary for us to implement such functionality. Then we would like to gain some financial backing to add motivation to our development, because we know that's how it works. And perhaps add some kind of monetization system to our project. Alright, and now we will provide some demonstrations of how our AR application works, and for that we have 3 separate videos.
Oh, let's see which one they play. The first one. Oh, what? I have no idea what this video... Okay, never mind, I will just start talking about it. Okay, so this is pretty much the core gameplay. So you lay out the markers and then you start kind of building the world. So in this case, you have a tower and a house and you just put it there and then
add more elements. Like here, at some point, the trees should start working. And all of them are interactable, so you can touch them on a touch screen, and they are changeable. So in this case, you can change the trees. There are like 6 trees here, which you can skip through and choose the one you like. Oh god, this video is so long. I'm sorry. Also, my camera was really bad. I'm very sorry about that. So here you can see that you can actually choose which tree you want to use. And at some point, I should add more stuff. Can you like skip 10 seconds ahead? Or 20?
Only 30.
Over? No, ahead. This way. Okay, that's okay, like this. Okay, as you can see, we also have animation, sadly, because my phone is so bad, the animation is very slow. When you add the player characters, you can tap on them, and then they will open a menu. Also for every NPC, this is workable. So you can either like show quests or text. So as you can see here, you can choose to attack with the character, and when you do that, usually animation starts playing, and we would usually like have this very elaborate like damage system, but we didn't sadly have enough time to implement it into the whole game. Okay, since the visuals here are so bad, I actually like made a... You can stop. Okay, there's also a dice, but it's pretty boring. It's just a dice. It works though. Something has to work. So I made also another small video, and Edward already infiltrated them. Edward, can you start playing the fight MP4? Okay, you just broke everything. Great. Yeah, here you can see how the animation actually works. So if you attack, there's actually a real animation of both characters, pretty much. And there's also usually sound. I don't know why the sound isn't working, but alright, so I will give it to you guys.
Hi. It's kind of thing, because we realized that we separated our team in 2 days after we started. Like we started made with Daniel something totally. Повернуть можно? Нет? Ладно. You should turn your head like this, and you will see so. As we began on the first day, we made some assets, and I said to Daniel, let's add our map on the marker. And until then, it all started. We made assets, we made kind of physics that totally didn't work like it should be. Daniel made... Now it works, now it's okay, but only if you see it from this point of view on the map. Daniel make a cursor, like a joystick, you can move your character, you can attack, we made animations, and it was like a second or third day, and Edward said, "What are you doing, guys?" And we were just like, okay, we made like a separate project, but it's connected. It's like a surprise. Yes, it's really.
Okay, so good job. All right, so this is more like a mini game for the actual game. Like this is actually really nice because a lot of people find D&D a little bit boring because it's mainly in the head of the players. And this could be incorporated to have like if there's a fight in the game, you could use this as a mini game, for example. Yeah.
Okay, we'll start. We will continue and work on this project. Like maybe we add some different stuff. I don't know. Should you do something? Okay, we're working now on the spamming mode. Like we make a system. We're trying to make system like we have only one attacking NPC. When we want to do this, like 3 NPCs, 2 NPCs who will attack you and you must fight them, but it's really hard. We made a Dark Souls, probably. So, then, it's a surprise.
Yeah, I have to cut it short. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a great time.
Good afternoon to all of you. I want to present a project created with help of the AR technology car racing. Thanks. Our team, let me introduce my team. Our team was consisted of 5 persons. Sergei, Elizabeth from the Berlin University, me, Andrei, Oleg, and Victor. So we don't have each of us did not have a special task. We all did both scripting and graphics part. But Elizabeth was responsible for ER course setup and also Vuforia setup. So next slide. The main idea of our project was to create a car racing app using the AR core and Vuforia technology, just like funny things for children or even for the adults. But so you can see. Let Victor continue about our plan. So next slide.
Okay, our tasks wasn't really easy. These are the main steps. On the first day we had like a basic concept. We decided what we should do, discussed all the plans. Also we have founded 3D models. They are like downloaded from internet for free, and some of the 3D models we made by own. Also we tried to set up a Vuforia app, and it worked. On the third, fourth day we created the main menu. Also we, in the main menu you can choose the car, choose different tracks, and start the race. And on Thursday we set up AR core and make it work. Next slide.
Okay, when you firstly run our application, you will be able to see our main menu, which consists, as Victor mentioned, which consists of 4 items: the choose a car, choose a track, start, and exit button. Next slide, please. If you select choose a car, then the menu will be shown for you. For now, we have 3 cars. There's purple, yellow, and green. So you are able to choose any car you want to, and the car will be displayed on a map that you will choose in the next menu. So choose a track menu, as you can see in the bottom right corner, allows you to select a track. For now we have 3 tracks. It's easy, normal, and hard track. And next slide, please. Here you can see how they look like. And easy track is just some kind of maybe square, normal track with a few more turns, and the hard track, as you can see here in the bottom. Let us show you how it works. Next slide, please. Or in case this is a video, so please, if you can run it, if you can play it.
Did you send separated the file?
Yes, of course. We did.
Okay, now, so on the video you're going to see our app. Different to the others you saw before, we are not using markers for the augmented reality, but we're using, okay, I guess that video cut a little short. So we skipped the menu and the choose the car functionality, and now you can see how you can actually drive the car in AR. We've got the, okay, I guess now we're at the start again. Okay, so this is the play mode. You're on the bottom left, you see like you have the buttons to go left and right with the car, and over there you've got the go and reverse functions. On the top left you can go back to the menu and select another track or another car, and you can also like reset the scene with the reset button on. Okay, I guess maybe we sent the wrong video because it's really short, but I hope you liked what you saw. If you want, you can try it out and come to me. I can show you the application.
The next slide, please.
You saw it's a really basic app for now. And of course there are things we can implement in the future, for example playing against an automated driver or even against your friends who have just got the same app. And what would actually be really cool if you could create your own tracks. You see, we had like 3 predefined tracks that you can drive on, and it would be really nice if you could create your own tracks using the tiles given in the application. But nevertheless, it was a very fun project. We had a great week, and well, thank you very much for your attention.
The presentation is called AR Tool. Maybe that helps. Great, thank you. So, good afternoon everyone. In the name of my team, I'd like to present to you the work we've done in this week, which we called Look at the Past. We started out as a tour guide, but we found this name more fitting. So our project is about an interactive exploration of historical landmarks. And next slide, please. As most teams of the Coding Week, our team was consisted of 5 people, 4 of which were from the GameHub-ONPU, and 1 was me, which was from Germany. Next slide, please. And our basic idea and concept was that we started with the idea that tourists needed additional information to explore such a beautiful city like Odessa. And there are a lot of historical landmarks that changed a lot over time, and we found a lot of images on the internet how they looked before. So our idea was we wanted to show the tourists how these landmarks looked some time ago, maybe some centuries or some decades ago. And also we thought it would be really cool if the augmentation didn't just plop out of the blue, but instead you as the user had to interactively reveal how this building appeared before. So we came up with the Scratch idea based on such a Scratch lottery ticket, so that you had to basically rub away the current appearance of the building and instead reveal how it looked in the past. Next slide, please. In this week, like everyone, we started with a concept on Monday and discussed what we could do and what we wanted to do. And we thought it would be really cool if you could just scan the building with your mobile application on your phone and then reveal after you scratched the building how it looked in the past. That didn't work quite out in the end, but you'll see about that. But on Tuesday we were all motivated and started with the implementation of the basic Scratch gesture and how it worked, and also started walking through the city and taking pictures, trying to recreate the exact point of view that the old image we found on the internet was taken from. On Wednesday we then added these pictures to a basic AR prototype with Unity and Vuforia, and on Thursday we are merging partial projects because for each landmark we also collected some additional information, mostly based on text, that we wanted to present together with the augmentation. And on Friday we started testing and bug fixing, and most of it works now. So next slide, please. So what can the prototype that we produced do by now? We figured out that it doesn't work really well to just scan the building. That's because the building changes a lot based on surroundings like parking cars, walking people, and also the lighting changes throughout the day. And even 2 days, we took the pictures on Tuesday, and yesterday some of the girls went to one of the spots and tried to recreate the photo as exactly as possible, but with just one marker it just doesn't work. That's because the pictures look roughly the same for the human eye, but for the algorithm they're too different. So instead, in order to make our prototype work, we decided we would do this with postcards for now. So we have printed out pictures of the current view of the landmark, which we reveal by scratching how it looked before. It would be really cool in the future to actually do it with the buildings, but for now that's not possible. On the last day we found someone on the internet that did something similar on another project, and he said it works better if you add more markers of the same building with different lighting conditions. We didn't have the time to test it out for now. So what do we have in our prototype right now? We started out with 7 landmarks, each with an additional information page. Also, we added multi-language support with a JSON file. So for now, we implemented Russian and English for all the information texts. But it would be really easy to add another language because it's already prepared that there are multiple languages. And also the basic scratch mechanic works. You'll see that in the video that comes up in the next slide, please. Or not. Maybe we can pause the presentation here and show the video now, which is also called AR Tour or something. Okay, the application is loading right now, and when it starts up, here you see on the desk some of the postcards we have, and also we have a map functionality that shows us where these photos were taken. So in the moment you scan one of the pictures, you get the information button at the bottom right, and you're able to scratch off the current view to reveal how this building looked in the past. Now we'll press on the information button soon, and then you'll see that we have additional information based in text in Russian, and then when I click in the top left corner on the button, the information is translated. As I already told you, we have this for 7 landmarks. Here's one of Arcadia. And actually the scratch mechanic is pretty smooth, but because my phone was actually recording the video while rendering the scene, it is now more like a tapping gesture, but if the phone is only doing the application, scratching is pretty smooth. So we can go back to the presentation, please. If we were to work further on this project, there are some things we'd like to improve. So for example, the scratching mechanic, while it works, it doesn't feel right. It's not like I feel like I'm scratching off a lottery ticket, it's more like I'm just tapping on my phone. So we'd like to change that, maybe add some more organic shapes for the scratching than just circles. It just doesn't feel right at the moment. Also, we'd like to implement an interactive map. In the video, the map was shown briefly, but what you could see maybe is that it's only a picture where we added some buttons that open, if you click them, Google Maps. So you can navigate to the spot the picture was taken, but it would be better if we actually integrated Google Maps natively so that you can actually use the map and not just click on one of the buttons. Also, 7 landmarks is nice, but more is better, so more content in the future is an obvious choice. And what we actually wanted to do, we didn't finish in this week, so we'd like to scan the actual building and augment directly onto the reality and not just on a postcard. So we might have to try out other detection methods or AR frameworks like AR Core or AR Kit or something similar to actually achieve our goal of augmenting the building itself. That's us from us, so thanks for your attention.
Hello everyone, our team is Münchhausen on paper, an animated short story, and next slide please. Our basic idea, wow, that is very pixelated, is, Daniel, can you come? Is to have like a printed piece of paper and augment it with virtual objects so that we can have a little short story on it where the user can like watch the story over the whole printed piece. That's it. You can go. Next slide, please. So that's the basic idea. We're four people team. Alexandra was responsible for the story and the audio recording and the design of the backgrounds. Daniel was responsible for animations, gameplay, and the physics of the rope. Yuri was responsible for character design and animation, and I was responsible for the AR tracking and some little animation too. Next slide, please. So for the story, we decided, because we're an intercultural team, to have it in German and Russian as well. So Alexandra had to match the individual pieces from the stories, because obviously they weren't exactly the same. Next. She also drew that wonderful graphic, though we kind of had her to break her artist heart, because the original version didn't have enough natural features for the marker detection, so we just had to increase the contrast by a lot. Next one, please. Yeah, Yuri did the character design. This is the Baron of Münchhausen, our main character. The story revolves around him catching a couple of ducks using a rope, and then they fly away with him, and he steers them to his home and oven. Next one, please. He was obviously also animated using Unity's bone system, so we see that later in the video. Next one, please. For the animation of the story, we could use Unity's timeline feature, which was very nice for these things. So it's basically like a video or audio editor where you can put everything in single tracks. Next one, please. For the Unity, for the movement of the individual characters, we used Unity's state machines, and we also tried to use the timeline feature, but it didn't work well at all, so we didn't get as far as we actually wanted to. Next. No, wait, you still wanted to say something about that.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
This is revolution of storytelling. The best project we ever made. Okay. We've tried to make a big animation system with the Unity timeline, but and to create a 2D rope system, but in some reasons, like lack of time and other reasons, it isn't working as well as possible for now. But this project will change style of storytelling. Wait. For all the people around the world. It is more interesting for a human brain to visualize the stories than read book or something like this. I hope that in future children instead of watching TV set will use smartphones to see stories, and it is interesting for children and for people who like read books and something like that.
Thank you. Next slide, please. So obviously we also did the AR tracking, so we can move on the picture. The problem is, because the picture is so big and we want to get very close with the camera, the tracking gets lost very often. So what we did in the end was split the picture into 8 pieces and use Euphoria's multi-target technology, which is normally used for these boxes, to allow tracking over the whole picture. Next. And now we have a video. Could you show it, please? And hopefully it's rotated in the correct orientation. Is it quiz? Yeah. You want to do the quiz?
Ask questions.
Oh, there it is. Oh, could you? So we basically filmed it with the normal camera. Normally you would hear Alexandra's beautiful voice narrating the story. As you've probably seen in the text box. Oh wait, I'll tell it later. Here on the right side you see another important character, Fat Cook. He's going to be responsible for making the ducks. As you see in the text boxes, the text here is in German, but the spoken text is in Russian, which is kind of nice. And normally, as I said, we didn't get very far. Normally he would throw his rope now. He put a little piece of meat on the rope, and the duck would eat it, and it would get out very soon. I don't know how to say that in English properly. So just imagine the rope, and then it would fly away with him on the rope, and they would fly to his house, and then he breaks his neck, and they'll go through the chimney, and that's basically it. And that's the end of the video. Next slide, please. So for further development, Still have a lot of tasks. First of all, finish the animations because there wasn't that much there yet. Then make the old switcheroo and have Russian visible text and German spoken text. Bring a little more life into the scene, like more animals in the background and some effects like water ripples or anything like that. And maybe make it interactive, have like multiple endings or anything. And that's basically it. Thank you very much.
Okay, maybe it's okay. Okay, so with great excitement and honor, I want to present you our our project. A lot of effort was laid and a lot of hard work was done. And surely that we don't want to stop here. We also got a lot of ideas. And the main what I want to say that this app can really change our view of the world. Now it can sounds crazy, but I hope that at the end of this presentation you will believe me. So next slide, please. Next slide is the main idea of our app. Next, please. Next. Oh. Yes, also next. So, the main idea of our app is very easy and very simple. So, you just take a picture of anything on your shot, of any marker, and then you can attach any kind of media to it. Now it's only drawing, text and images are available, but we are working on it. And then this... Then people with this app can see what you have attached to it. So, okay. Next slide, please. Okay. Now I want to present my beautiful team. Next, please. And this is Irina. Next slide. Yes, she is our content manager with Nikita. Thanks for them, we have a lot of predetermined library images. And here is Leonid. He had done like a core of our app, like a coding part. Then for him, we have this idea and our app. So, and I'm a project manager, and yeah, you're welcome. Next slide, please. Next. So I gave a speech to Leonid about coding part.
Oh.
Yeah, the coding part. We did a lot to not use markers, at least markers that are predefined. So what we wanted to do is to create our own markers by making a screenshot of what the camera is seeing and applying this as a local marker. The next step, you would add your own media. The first idea was to add media from your smartphone and from a cloud that we are providing. The thing with the smartphone didn't work very well in the first days. That's why currently we are only providing content that you can download, but it's also enough at first. And after you place the content on your screen, you can upload the marker you've created to the cloud. So everyone who has this app on his phone can open it and see what you have created. For instance, and you will see a video later on when I make a marker of his t-shirt. I can place some text, some animations, some videos on the t-shirt, and then I can say upload it to the cloud. And when Nikita, for instance, would open his phone and look at his t-shirt, he would see the generated content. Yeah, it was much to do actually, but it worked.
Okay, so please, content manager, what should we have for now? Next slide.
We have 4 different animations. User will see on a screen when he touches it, and this number will increase. Next slide, please. Where is icons? There are several kinds of media we There are several kinds of media we could see on the screen, like images, animations, and user's ability to add his own content, like text and drawing.
Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, yes, it's the right presentation. So basically, what we have for now, this is two screens. First screen, like a user takes a picture of what he wants to be a marker. Then he has this menu where he can choose the kind of media he wants to attach. And for now, as I have said earlier, we have only 3 or 4 buttons working, but it's like for future our tasks. Yeah. So the next slide, please. So this is basically the main idea of our app. So we can put anything. It's all easy. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yes. So we have great ambitions and ideas, and so we don't want to stop this week, and we want to implement our ideas, because all is implementable. It's all about time. Next slide, please. It's a surprise for you. Anything can be a marker. Next slide, please. Yes, really anything. Next slide, please. So with this app, you can make anything as your marker. Just really anything. Next slide, please. This is how our world can look with our app in future. Yeah. The next slide, please. Okay, this is basic idea that we can implement all kind of stuff we want. It's all up to you. And also big companies can buy our project to help their office members to communicate with each other. Yeah. Next slide, please. Also some problems here, but also the main idea is that we can do all that we want. Next slide, please. Yes, our app can also help deaf people to communicate with people when they attach some images of deaf alphabets to their shots. Next slide, please. Yes. Yes, we don't want to stop here, and we also have much tasks to do. Next slide, please. There's this image here, and that's
before we say thank you, we should maybe show the video to the people. That
yeah, of course. That's video, please.
Can you please? Yeah. So you see the very pre-alpha of our application. So how it works, you see now his T-shirt. In the top you have a quality meter that says that it's okay to make a screenshot out of this, and now you can place your content. For instance, now we are drawing on his T-shirt with different colors. And of course you can add some images, some predefined from our database, a cat for instance, and place it where you want. Yeah, sorry, it's a bit long. And our future vision is that you can even add pictures from your phone, for instance, or animations, or even audio. And text is currently also possible, but we didn't show this in this video. And after you say post this creation, I restart the app now, and you will see the created content again, because it's now in the cloud, and everyone who has this application can see it.
Normally there is also a logo on the T-shirt that is printed on it, and it was beautifully designed by Irina, and this will give a hint on the augmentation of the T-shirt. So, because like this you would not know that it is augmented, but as soon as you see the logo you can see, oh yes, it's augmented, so I can use the AR T-shirt app.
Yeah. That was it for. Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.